Scene opens. Edwin's been walking through the face for some time, avoiding obvious areas of gang activity as best he can. Mostly looking for subtle signs. Thinking back on the events of the last few nights, a feeling of heavy concern for the last person he fed off of. As he continues making his way, he shifts his direction north to the last bridge between the face and the crow, heading up into the industrial area of the middle peninsula. Edwin's pace picks up a bit. He begins to jog, and then the jog turns into a light run. Once he reaches the other end of the bridge and he enters the crow, he grabs a hold of he takes a leap, grabbing a hold of a stop sign post and twirls himself around it like some kind of widget or whirligig. And then lands, continuing his jog effortlessly as he heads deeper into the industrialized sector of this part of the city. When he lands, at a certain point, he kind of stops and looks around. His head cocks to the side. The motion is very almost urban feral. He doesn't even realize he's doing it. It's just a form of instinct taking over. When he starts to realize that this activity, his footfalls, and his landings from leaps throughout this part of the city, reverberating metal, footfalls on concrete, clang, koosh, makes his head turn on a swivel. And then he gets back to his feet and continues his jog, occasionally attempting to hop up on the edge of trash cans to springboard off of them. Most of the activity sends small plastic trash cans hurtling over on their sides. Edwin only barely manages to keep from smashing his face into the pavement and gets up. And he continues this high impact activity in an effort to, at least in some way, get that old familiar feeling that he remembers from physical activity, to shake that lazy streak that he's been getting far too accustomed to as he enters a very familiar street within the Crow.
So As Edwin begins to approach 9th Street, there's also going to be someone else there, obfuscated from view, but still there. Adam's at the drop box where they normally post news and other things to each other. And as he's doing this, between the clanging of the trains and the squeaks of rats, he hears something, just a slight thud in the distance, nothing major, but enough for him to take notice. Immediately slipping into the shadows and watching out for moving trains, he makes his way towards the entrance to see what's there. And as he makes his way up, he's going to spot a figure. Not sure if he's close enough to recognize, but a figure springboarding off what appears to be a concrete slab and sort of just managing to slide across, a rail. It's not the most elegant kind of activity he's seen, but enough that he takes notice and he just sort of watches.
You don't recognize the figure. In this section of the Crow, the lighting isn't the best. It's
why I'm in obfuscate.
It's in a section that's like there's signs of industry, but it's kind of like bordering on the more heavy commerce, service industry types. The street light on this section where you came up is about what is it? What was the cross street we said for 9th?
I'm sure it was 8th, but I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, go like 9th and Wash, something like that. So you came up on Wash, which is kind of a dark street. Some of the street lights are shaky.
Well, there's warehouses and things in this area. There's not a lot of street light.
What you can notice on occasion is the figure is wearing a hooded sweatshirt. Okay. It's like it looks like any other.
So as the prey's running, Adam's kind of intrigued, and he's going to, with the mind of a predator, he's just going to try and pursue the figure to see if it can still catch up, to see if he's still at the level that he was before his embrace, where Adam wasn't exactly doing parkour, but he was physically fit enough to run for a long while. And, swimming over a rope was something he was quite used to. Had to adapt athletics.
Yeah, and if you do so, you will not be able to do it in obfuscate.
That's fair. I'm doing it like in the shadows, preferably, but no, Adam's pretty taken by this.
Go for it. I'm gonna make another roll, by the way.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're the defender in this case. Because, well, I'm just going to consider you the defender because you're trying to catch up.
Yeah.
You're defending against my... Yeah. So, yeah. Most of the parkour-ish-esque things that you've seen earlier kind of slow down a bit. On occasion, when you actually catch pace, or catch and match pace, the figure leap up about 4 or 5 steps to a landing, and then follow it up by sliding down across the rail back to the sidewalk.
Okay.
You don't so much slide down, but you kind of, how can we say it, leap and handstand on the rail, which causes it to bend down slightly.
Okay.
And when you land, the figure like turns slightly towards you, and then kind of does an oh shit and runs off.
Okay. Do I still not recognize the figure?
You haven't seen his face clearly enough.
Okay.
Like, you caught a nose.
Yeah.
Uh,
Then,
let's give one more Dex Athletics.
yeah. Even though it's not the wisest idea, considering all of the reports of a masked killer around and things, Adam's still going to pursue, thinking that, if the guy got a clear look at him, he doubts it because of, the shadowy alley, but if the guy got a clear look at him, that could be a problem.
Where you caught up with him, it's like the corner of 9th Wash. So it's not an alley, it's on the street, but it is shadowy. There's light behind you. Oh! Yeah, good
That's
Lord.
That's athletics.
Yeah. How you intercept.
Okay, so what's on this street and where is Edwin running?
On this street, let's see. You're heading towards the tip of the peninsula of the that's the Crow is. And there's quite a few. There's actually quite a few cars on the street, like parked on the street.
Yeah.
Going into like a factory and like parking yard or storage yard type of area.
Yeah. Well, Adam's not completely lost his senses, so as he said to run after the shadowy figure, he immediately kind of vaults over a chain link fence, sort of between, which leads to this factory kind of area, this factory parking area, and argument's sake, we'll say it's like a fairly standard car park, with all the concrete twists and turns and bends and things. So as Adam tries to catch up, Adam immediately just lands in a row, and then he's going to be running as fast as he can manage. He's going to quickly just vault another one of the concrete blocks, but this one leads again to a surprisingly it leads to the fire escape of the place, and he's going to run and follow that down, and it makes like a noise underneath his weight, just sort of a clanging noise as he quickly just sprints all the way down into this dark alley.
Well, just as the figure heads across the car park, to the side fire escape on the edge of this factory. It's a single-story factory. You actually take a leap or take a run and literally cut the figure off. His head kind of, his head is kept low, or the person's head is kept low, and he just kind of, whoa. I don't want no trouble or anything. And then the figure stops and goes, "Oh, son of a bitch," and pulls his hood down.
Just the man I was hoping to speak to. Looks like it's 2-1 this time. What are you doing at this time of night?
Oops. Going for a walk. A walk and a jog.
Looks like more than just a walk. Some nice moves you got there. Could do with a little work, but No, it's what I'm here for.
Well, I only ever kept myself in shape because have you ever seen some of the people that study technical sciences and engineering? Most of them are not in
Well,
the best shape, and
can't say, can't,
they end up turning out fairly lazy, especially when they're affluent or come from
yeah,
affluent
well,
families.
we'd have, even in construction, we'd have fair share of, well, people out of shape. I suppose it doesn't affect us now, but I saw you running past and thought I'd try and see if I could catch up.
The
It's
difference
been a
between
while.
construction workers and engineers, though, generally,
We get exercise.
is construction workers may be out of shape, but it's only because maybe they don't necessarily eat right. Maybe they eat too late. When you're exhausted at the end of a day, because that's pretty hard work. Yeah,
Yeah, guess so.
and beer can put on the pounds.
Well, it's never a problem for me. I mean, I like drinking as any other bloke, but once I started properly training, that wasn't really a consideration. Anyways, do you want to get out of here? I'd rather avoid a breach and, well,
I think that would be best. There's a,
if,
I know there's a manhole cover over there.
well, that works for me. We can head back near my place. I'm actually thinking of setting up a gym or something to occupy me these nights. I've already got the equipment, just need to set it up, so
I'm not as
I'd be
familiar
happy.
with the sewerways as the subways, but
Uh,
I know some.
that's where
I
I'm
know where
coming.
accesses are. And Edwin starts walking in that direction, sprinting out of the car park to the oof to the what is it? The
Manhole
back
cover?
of the
Okay.
factory.
Okay,
Yeah, to the street that's basically behind the factory towards that manhole.
yeah. Okay.
Um,
Adam will do the
he
same, but is the manhole big enough for him?
um well, most manholes. I mean, they all have the same problem for fits. Uh,
Yeah.
it's you have to kind of go down awkward and kind of squeeze because they're not the
Well,
widest accesses.
yeah. This is the real reason Adam is Pertons. Yeah, if possible, Adam's gonna do that, and if not, he'll look for an alternative way in.
Let's see. You see Edwin kind of lean down um, and try to how can you say it? Pry the manhole up by like placing his finger into a hole, but he stalls and it does not lift.
Suppose you need a little bit of help there. These things can be a little tricky.
I think this one might be stuck, and
Um,
he backs away from it.
oh, happy to help. Assume we should be strength athletics, or I can just do a
Just strength.
straight strength.
Yeah, strength and potence.
Okay. Oh, that's fine, anyways. That's fine. Okay.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, You manage after good 10, 20 seconds, just kind of getting your grip. You manage to flip it up. You don't and make it fly. No. But you do manage to get it up with not too much effort. Edwin takes out. You see him take something out of the pocket of his hooded sweatshirt and place it into one of his back pockets.
Okay. Can I get
As
a look at what it is, or?
Looks like a cell phone.
Oh.
As he begins heading down the ladder. A little hesitantly. A little. But it's not like fear, it's more like uncertainty, like you haven't done something in a while.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna chuckle. Yeah, well, you do right to put that cell phone away. You don't get GPS down here.
Not without gain boosters.
No. Said. And I'm not the Nosferatu to talk to about that. Anyways, I think we should just have to take a few lefts and a few turns, but it's not too far. As I said, I've been thinking of opening up my own space for a while, and Henley's been helping me, and I've managed to acquire some new equipment which you may be interested in. It's probably safer to practice, well, parkour in a less visible way sometimes. This is my wits streetwise to navigate, or wit survival as well.
It'd be wit survival down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you managed to navigate pretty well. You make a couple wrong turns, but you correct yourself.
Yeah. So I just want to say silent after that, as he memorizes the twists and the turns and the kind of there are parts of the sewers which he knows are blocked off, or they're like kind of false diversions, just to try and trick anyone who tries to come down here.
Edwin, as he's walking, closes his eyes. He stops and closes his eyes for a moment, and you hear him take a breath in and then release it. It actually sounds fairly natural. And, well, unbeknownst to Adam, as the glow of his eyes intensifies just slightly, there's a little bit of a parting.
Okay, a parting of his eyes, or?
Well, a parting of his vision as it
Okay, yeah. So
clarifies a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got my stuff stored on just past this door on the right hand. They don't use these tunnels as much. Well, it's as good a place as any. So what have you been up to these past few nights? Didn't get a chance to talk to you.
No. Making inroads into internet-based tech service.
Well, in English.
Software-based problems. Solved through remote connection, secure remote connection.
Well, whatever works, you've got to play to your strengths. It's definitely something I've learnt. It's why I'm thinking of setting this place up after our last conversation. You know, just something to keep me occupied and remind me of, well, what I did. And as he says this, he's gonna just, out of nowhere, just kind of opens this door and into kind of a small kind of maintenance room. There's equipment. Most of it seems to be boxing equipment. I mean, there's a couple of mats, a couple of things that there's also a couple of rings and things that you'd use in gymnastics that would say be, installed and things. Oh. You mind taking a couple of pieces off? Well, I'm gonna have to carry it all for you.
Edwin just kind of looks at you a little bit. And walks over and looks at some of the equipment. Looks pretty decent.
Yeah, well. Isabel lent me some, which was very kind of her.
Very good. Managed to get yourself some useful tools of body trade.
Well, I'm a Nosferatu, it's what we do.
For me, it's not so much playing to a strength, it's you have to make an income.
It's survival.
If you don't make income, it's not even survival, it's just necessary. If you don't make an income, the little things for us are that much harder.
Yeah, I suppose one thing I'm lucky for in all this goddamn bullshit is that, well, money doesn't really matter anymore to me. I can do things with it, it's nice, but I don't need to pay anything off. And nothing bothers me down here.
Edwin's head kind of cocks over to the other side. If money doesn't matter, then why did you rob an armored car?
Well, that's something we'll talk about on the way to this place. Adam just kind of gives you a couple of things and starts putting it on himself. Like I said to you, I thought that, it would help people. In the ends meet the means met the ends, but, well, I've had time to reconsider. I'm actually, well, have you been reading the papers lately?
I regularly catch news feeds online.
Well, unfortunately, it seems like there are some more pressing issues at hand right now. With all the murders and disappearances happening, and I'm thinking of looking into it.
The mask maker.
Well, that's definitely one I'm interested in.
From what I've recently gathered, there's a possibility that maybe that's a copycat killer.
Yeah, well,
which leads me to believe that a murderer by that name has been prevalent in the past, at least a decade, if not more back.
And is this just a suspicion or something you've been looking into yourself?
It's an idea based on further data that I've gathered, but I don't know much else about it. You know,
Wow.
I know where they've occurred, but I mean, I'm not a cop, so
Yeah. Well, from what I've heard, it's starting to. I was actually meaning to talk to you. Have you ever heard of a coterie? He's going to ask. While we're doing this, Adam's going to be trying to navigate towards a place he has in mind. Yeah.
Edwin kind of shifts the load of stuff that he's carrying in his arms. I'm familiar with what a coterie is.
Well, I guess it'll be my turn to educate you then. Well, a coterie is a group of.
No.
Oh.
He said he does know. He does.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. He does know.
Okay, then Adam's just going to nod. Well, I guess you know then that it's a group of kindred who, regardless of clan, come together to uphold the masquerade and, look out for each other.
Generally speaking.
I mean, I've been thinking lately that, well, it might be useful for both of us and both of our clans if we formed a coterie and maybe got the Bruja in on it. I mean, I've been asked to look into it a couple of times, or I've heard it mentioned, and well, your name always seems to come up. I've always, said that you're reliable. Well, as I said, I thought it could be useful, and well, in these times, it might be good to strengthen the alliances between our clans. I know that's something for the higher ups, but as I said, that's what I've been thinking about lately.
Good idea. And if we got what Bruja we can in on it. That may actually help me to figure out the reason for a particular request recently that I've been working on.
A particular request, may I ask?
Are you familiar with Bianca Cassidy?
I've been to her club a couple of times. I know Isabel better, but I know Bianca well enough.
Well, I'm all too happy to help someone, with security camera installation, for obvious reasons. But it's unusual when somebody comes to you with a job, but it's not for their place of residence, it's for someone else's.
May I ask who that person is? Maybe I can do my best to shed some light on it.
I don't know. I don't know whose house it is.
Well, could be any reasons. They could be suspicious of the individual or injured. Anything they're involved in.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
I mean, from what I hear, there's a lot of games being played recently. I mean, well, that's something else I was going to ask you about. It seems like the Malkavians and the Tremere and Mr. Victor Coffin, in fact, I had the pleasure of meeting him the other night. They're interested in, well, speaking to the elders of your clan. They want to know what's going on in the woods, and they need access to do it. And as a favour, they asked if I could speak to you or maybe some of your clan and try and see what's going on. Of course, they're trying to keep this away from the Toreador and the Bruges.
I don't know. I don't think I could usually see most Toreador going into the woods. Bruja, maybe unlikely.
No, but it seem like interesting times. Not that I hang around Court and Elysium much. I'm sure you feel the same way. It's just a load of political bullshit and trying to outsmart the other person, rather than focusing on what's important. It's why none of these murders have been challenged.
It's curious. I've been warned to stay out of the woods myself. I'm wondering what Tremere want to go in there for.
Well,
I mean, given what's been happening there over these few months.
Well, as I said, they probably want to investigate and look further, but yeah, Mr. Victor Coffin and well, Toody have been asking around for you and Sly, and nobody's seen much of him these nights, so...
Victor Coffin. Real eerie type.
Yeah, he owns the Black Rose,
funeral.
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well... As I said, what I was thinking was that, well, we could perhaps meet with them at some point. I mean, it looked good for you in a clan if anything was found out and resolved, then you helped facilitate that. And I'll be honest, they'll owe me a favour. The last time we spoke, that's what you talked about, watching each other's backs and, well, keeping to the things that make you human.
Remind me, the Black Rose Funeral Home is what part of town again?
It's quite local, in fact. It's around here somewhere. But, I mean, I can get touch with both of them quite easily. I have the contact numbers, so after this is done, if you want to, well, pay someone a visit, I'd be happy to oblige.
Well, given that the Black Rose is a public business, getting the number is easy.
True, but...
Victor Coffin is the owner?
Yes, but maybe slightly hard to reach him. Whereas I have 2D's cell phone number. It's probably quicker to arrange that way, but...
I'll do what I can and swing by the Black Rose then.
Yeah, well...
Try to speak with Victor.
Yeah, I'll probably, if you don't mind, I'll probably head down with you at some point. I mean, a few things I could speak to him. I've got to speak with him about. Just, local, sort of local news, nothing too serious, but it's always good to know your neighbours.
I think it would be better if I met with him myself.
Well,
Because you said Did Adam seem a little hesitant when he mentioned the Malkavian and Tremere? Like, was there a little wavering in his voice?
yeah, I suppose. It's not like, I won't say it's massively suspicious, he's just saying, like, they want to speak to him. It's a bit awkward, but they've asked him to try and get in touch with the Gangrel.
Right. So it kind of came out a little, just a little tiny bit awkward.
Yeah, it was like a case of, well, I've been asked to do this, so if you could do me a solid,
Given the bit of hesitancy in your voice, I think it'd be better if I met with Victor alone,
Yeah.
just in case.
Understandable.
You mentioned something about 2D.
Yeah, well, as I said, I managed to see them both the other night, and, well, I said that's just what they asked. And, well, I'd rather be upfront with you about it because, well, you'd never know what to think around the Malkavians or the Tremere.
Don't know much about the Tremere, except that they're secretive. Very secretive.
Well, I think they like it that way.
And Malkavians, I have no problem with them.
No, me neither.
From a horrible condition, but that does not mean that they're...
Well, they just look like we do, but on the inside. And as he says that, Adam leading you through the sewers, he'll actually take you through a couple of exits as well, which surprisingly do lead off back to the factories. There'll be places where all the factory runoff will be sent and disposed of.
So he points out ways to get back.
Yeah, Adam does.
I'm gonna make a intelligence streetwise to see how well Edwin is memorizing.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, safe to say he's going to be able to navigate his way back out.
Yeah. This is a good thing.
And remember this way.
Yeah, I mean.
So both Victor and 2D want a Gangrel's help, me or someone else, to go into the woods.
Yeah. Essentially, yes. As I said, they were talking about it, and I decided to throw it to you because, well, in our dealings, we've always been fairly reliable and upfront with each other.
Fair enough. Yeah, just give me their contact, and I'll get a hold of them a little bit later tonight.
Yeah, of course. Well, if you can give me your contact as well, I'm sure I can facilitate something fairly quickly.
Well, that won't work out. contacting me is a lot harder. I don't have the same number from night to night.
No. Okay.
So with their contact info, I'll be able to get a hold of them.
Well, I don't
At
have a
least in the
pen.
meantime. That's fine. He
I
takes
don't
his
have
cell phone out and pulls up his contacts, and
Okay.
he enters one name,
Yeah.
waiting for the number.
Adam's gonna be. Let me think. No, Adam's gonna be fair with you. He's just gonna enter it all in. Well, after we've done, I'll get back and call on a cell phone, and then just make sure everything's sort of tied up nicely. As said, you're doing me a favour, and I feel like it's probably doing you a favour as well.
True. It's fair enough.
And
I can oblige a
as
favor.
Yeah, and as I said, I'd rather have us to be on the same boat. That's why I was talking about trying to sort things out with our clans. That's something I'll definitely talk to Meinhof about as well. So Adam says this is going to lead you into what looks like sort of a disused warehouse almost, something like that. It's essentially an empty room. From what you can see, from what Edwin can see, there has been some minor sort of work being done, but the place is essentially falling apart. But I mean, structurally, the place is sound, There's stuff in progress, there's construction tools around, there's, odd mechanical things, covered in oil.
So this is above ground?
I was originally going to have it underground, but since you did a streetwise, I'll just say it's above ground, but it's near, an underground kind of place, if needs be.
Okay, so we've headed back up. All right.
Yeah. As I said, since you did the streetwise, it seems fair. Yeah. So, I'm thinking of setting up shop here for a while. No. So that if, people like yourself want to come in and train and do work, it's a safe place to do it. And then Adam's going to start, setting up some of the equipment. Mind giving me a hand with that over there?
Edwin will set what he's holding to the side of the ground and grab the other end of what you need help with.
Yeah, there's not many places someone who looks like me can do this in the city, and here seems as good a place as any. As Adam's sort of setting up the equipment, you'll notice that he's very kind of focused in getting everything in just the right place to look like kind of just kind of like a general gym, as it were.
Okay.
If you take a look at the parts scattered on the floor, Edwin will notice, some of it's weights, some of it's bits you'd use to make a pulling machine, but nothing's really. A lot of it does seem to be scavenged. There was also something else I was going to suggest, but depends on how this session goes.
Well, what's the suggestion?
Well, the only other place you can really do stuff like this is, Miss Isabel Murphy and I have been training recently. She's been giving me a few pointers, and I've been happy to have a partner, and I was wondering if you'd like to join us sometime.
Well, that's only as far as you know. I know of one other place, so I guess we're 2-1. Me.
Oh, 2-2. 2-2 since I caught you up earlier. Or maybe the gym's not reputable. But go on, do tell. Where is this fabulous place?
That will be my little secret. It's better that way.
Better that way?
Kind of a refuge.
Well, if it's any consolation, that's the last place I go looking for you. You own a place, or?
No. Just know somebody who can open it late night.
Well, who knows? Maybe if you send me on another bloody treasure trail, I might happen on the place.
Not likely. With the clues, I'll lead you. Or I'll leave you.
Well, when we get all this set up, we'll just do some sparring practice if you want. I mean, if your boxing's as good as if you box as well as you talk, I'll have a word with your opponent. Kind of chuckles. But yes, I'm thinking of going down there in a couple of nights. You don't have to join, but well, I think it'd be nice.
I'll have to see. I'll have to make sure I have the night free. I should.
Yeah.
What part of
as I said,
or what part of the city does 2D tend to frequent?
Well, if we're just gonna train, that'd be with Isabel. But 2D seems to be all over the place. I mean, the blade, the flate, the face, the crow. I've seen her everywhere. But I mean, the park near here is as good a place as any, I suppose. That's where I tend to see her sometimes.
I got a place in mind.
Well, as I said, that's your business, but well.
And Edwin, is there like a bench or something?
For argument's sake, yeah, let's just say there's a bench or something I can say. As it seems to be like a disused kind of warehouse storeroom or something, or like maybe the room where they'd fabricate things. So yeah, there'll be something to say.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's an old warehouse shelf that's not dilapidated and falling down.
Yeah.
He takes his glasses off and his hooded sweatshirt and sets his phone and glasses on top of it. And walks over to probably the only heavy bag that's actually set up at this point.
Yeah.
And begins, light, very, how can we say it, telegraphed punches.
So sort of very.
So like a opening, like a warm up, right?
Yeah. Well, as he's doing that, Adam's gonna be is probably set up the first heavy bag. He's hauling one up now, and then he's gonna set up the speed bag. And as soon as that's done, he's gonna be just doing the speed bag.
And by the time he gets back and he is clipping the bag, Edwin is making fairly solid, proper punches. You off guard a little bit because you're like,
almost, yeah.
The punches are not awkward; they're actually decent.
Yeah, but quite fluid, right?
Decently proper, yeah.
Well, as he's doing that, what Adam would have done is Adam would have started also hitting the bag too. And even though Edwin's throwing quite decent punches, he still can't. He still really can't compete with Adam, who's been training and sort of doing this all of his life. And it just kind of seems almost natural. Yeah, there's kind of a fluidity to it, and there's a speed to Adam's movements, which, you know, a lot of people wouldn't suspect considering his huge size. And as he's hitting the speed back, he's also practicing his footwork. So occasionally he'll sway from side to side. No, and it's quite something to see. But what you see is that Adam does the same kind of punch, and even if there's a small error, what Adam will do is he'll readjust his step and try it again. He'll just be looking over after a few minutes. Not bad, not bad. No, it's a shame you weren't more, say, built before the embrace, but it's definitely something to work with.
As he's picking up his pace a little bit, he's not doing it particularly quick, but the way he's punching the bag, he's putting enough force into it to where when it comes back, it kind of does so quickly. And he's also he's not fluidly working on his footwork, but he's basically working on like basic avoidance.
Okay.
In between punches.
Okay.
I've always had, I've always been very wiry when it comes to muscle.
Yeah.
But Edwin, for his size, like, given that he's not wearing a hooded sweatshirt, given he's not wearing a hooded sweatshirt, even though like the muscle is very wiry on him. He has wiry muscle. I wouldn't say he has definition, but he's definitely got a lot better tone to the muscle than you would have expected.
Yeah, and Adam kind of picks up on this. Adam himself is working out, and you can tell that even before the embrace and made him the way he is, Adam was fairly brawny enough that, you know, his muscles are all defined and rippling as he continues to pummel the speed bag. And if he weren't a Nosferatu, in a way, it'd probably be quite a spectacle. It'd be something to see. He finishes up the warm up, and as he does that, he's going to toss a cup. He's going to yell, "Catch!" He's going to just toss a couple of boxing gloves, sort of Edwin's way, as he picks up the sort of the mitts that the trainers tend to use, the flat ones.
Okay. He tries to stop and turn towards them and catch him. He catches one, the other one kind of falls to the ground. And he picks it up. When he puts him on his hand there, it's a little awkward at first, and then he basically does the "oh duh" moment. Is there is there anything more specific you can tell me about? You can tell me about what 2D wants with me as he's putting the gloves on and securing them.
As I said, that's the general gist I got. You know how most kindred are. We don't tell everyone everything, but the gist I got was it has something to do with, well, investigating what's going on in the woods. They probably, wouldn't be surprised if they need a tracker or something. To be honest, my guess is as good as yours. As you're both talking, Adam's going to be showing Edwin the right stance and adjusting his posture a bit.
fair enough.
Yeah, well,
And when he says that, he kind of takes a little bit of a quick hopping step to his right,
yeah.
Adam's left, and when he does so, yeah, when he does so, he lands a good solid punch.
Okay.
Just yeah, he lands a good solid punch. Right into his shoulder, and he says, "Well, then let's continue this conversation and get a little high impact training." And that is where this scene will come to a close.